Well, guys, my name is Troy Heller, and this is my third time here at the CBMC golf tournament. This is the 20th that they've done here in Lincoln, and they continue to do so because they value all of us being able to come together around something that we enjoy. So many people that have contributed and helped out in so many ways that we want to make sure that we recognize those folks. An event of this nature would not be possible without our sponsors, donors, and the many volunteers that make it happen.
But I need to tell you this and confess this. I had a serious drug problem when I was a little kid. Yes, my parents drugged me to church every Sunday. I mean, that was it was bad. And by the time I was 9 years old, I figured out, hey, this heaven place sounds a lot better than the alternative. So I got what I now refer to as my get out of jail free card. I walked the aisle of our church. I made a profession of faith. But I really wasn't serious about that. I just wanted to go to heaven someday if I died. What I really was interested in was being a professional athlete. That was my God. That was where I found my joy. That was where I passionately tried to live in. And I had some very early success. I got some accolades, got some honors. I mean, things looked like I was on that road to exactly what I had planned. But here's the crazy part. I wasn't happy. I started reading my Bible daily. I started enjoying going to church. I started seeing attitude change. God was really doing some amazing things. And for the first time, it wasn't for my glory, but it was for the glory of God. And I was convinced by the time I finished my college career that God wanted me to be in sports ministry. Take that love for Jesus and that love for sports and combine them together. And I thought my parents would be thrilled. After all, they kind of got me in this thing. Remember the whole drug thing? I mean, I thought they'd be for it, but they were adamantly against me doing that. And I was just so confused. Why would they be so for me to do this and yet not for me? And the reason was they really believed that I should use the career that I had in college, my accounting degree, for something to do with accounting. So I became a CPA. Unknown to me, at the FCA national headquarters, there was a gal who'd been our controller there for years and years. Sweet little grandma type, but she was embezzling millions and millions of dollars. They found out I was a CPA in my former life, and they says, hey, could you come to Kansas City and be part of an internal audit team and discover how she actually pulled this off and help us establish some mechanism, some structure, make sure it never happens again. I said, well, I'll come if it's when the Mariners are playing the Royals so I can see my guys. And when I showed up, I found out there was no team. I was the team. I was doing some really cool things for Jesus, but I also had a secret addiction. I was addicted to pornography. And I knew that if I moved to Kansas City out of my little bubble of Seattle and moved there and became a national vice president, that could create serious problems for my future, for my reputation, for everything. And so eventually I decided to move to Kansas City with the hopes that I could leave the porn stuff back in Seattle and move to Kansas City and have a fresh start and a new beginning. But when I got to Kansas City, guess what? It didn't get easier, it got harder. And then I had my watershed moment in Dallas, Texas. I was walking through DFW Airport on my way to the East Coast, and I wandered into a gift shop that was across from my gate, and without even thinking about what I was doing, I'm standing in front of that rack of magazines, and I reached out my hand to grab a magazine, when from behind me I got 3 taps on my shoulder. I turned around, and standing in front of me was one of my best friends from Seattle, Washington. And he had 6 words for me. He says, Rod, what are you doing here? I said, I'm going to Boston. I mean, my voice was at pit level I've never been before. I mean, I'm in panic mode. My greatest fear and my greatest pain point at that moment was not just how I had grieved this guy, but how I had grieved the Lord. And it was my wake-up call. It was that moment in time where, do you really want to walk with me? Do you really want to give your life to me? Even this ugly thing called purity. Guess what? We're all a work in process. We all have something. We all have issues. We all need a Savior. We're all sinners. We all have something in our life that literally is a problem. In fact, Romans 3:23 says, all have sinned, all fall short of the glory of God. And guess what? Unfortunately, according to God, the penalty for sin is death. That's what Romans 6:23 says. But Romans 5:8 tells us that Jesus steps in and he says he demonstrates his own love towards us and that while we're yet sinners, Christ died for us. And then the question comes back to what do we do with that? What do we do with that information? We have to make a decision. And the cool thing about God, he just says, if you believe and you confess, guess what? You can be saved today. I want to close by saying this. The giant in front of you is never bigger than the God who's behind you. You know, he takes our tests and he turns it, into a testimony. He takes our mess and creates a message. He takes our panic and he creates peace. He takes the trials and he makes a triumph occur. And he finally also takes all the chaos and allows us to celebrate. He's a good God.